Hello everyone, welcome to .NET Training Academy. In this video, we are going to learn how to use a material design user interface with Blazor Spark framework. If you haven't heard about the material design, it is the design principles and design framework which is introduced by Google. And one of the major advantages of using material design is more realistic. Those kind of elevations and components are arranged in a realistic manner, which makes an application user interface fantastic. So the second advantage of using material design in particularly websites or web applications, which makes a look and feel of the mobile application. If you are an Android user especially, open up the Visual Studio. Here, I'm going to select ASP.NET Core Web Application, Blazor Material Design. And I assume that you guys are already installed ASP.NET Core 3.0 and select Blazor server side. And I'm using Preview 6 here. And here, I want to push this source code to the repository, which is the GitHub repository. Here I'm going to create a new repository, Blazor Material Design. So just click create over here and copy this URL. And I assume that you guys have already installed Git and configured Git in your machine. So first we have to push that, and we have to paste the URL over here to push this code into our repository. Here it is. We just successfully pushed the Blazor, our source code, into the Git. And you can also download this source code in the Git. The basic Blazor files are available over here. So the first thing that we need to do is to just check whether it is running correctly. So for that, Control F5 to debug this application. Here it is. The application works fine. And the second step is now we are going to install material design, which means the NuGet package, which is NuGet package of building material design, which is called MatBlazor over here. And the first thing that we have to do is to install the MatBlazor package over here. Go to Package Manager console. And if you are not at all using Visual Studio, you can go ahead with the .NET command to install this package, which is .NET add package of MatBlazor, which is available over here. So that's it. And the next thing is, let's just check this application by inserting it in somewhere. So let's create a mat button over here. Hello material design. So let's just run this application. And here it is. It is not actually applying that particular material design thing. The reason is we have to add extra library to connect with the server-side Blazor. Okay, so basically this is the server-side Blazor. So we need to add another library, and that library is install -package embedded Blazor content -version 1.2.0. That's it. So it's installed perfectly. Now we have to configure this guy in the startup.cs. Okay, let's go to the startup.cs to configure this embed Blazor content. And over here in the configure service configure, application configure, we have to configure this thing, app.use embed here we need to input Blazor content, and we have to say it as an assembly, and that's it. It's all now good to go. And also we need to add this thing in the head section, which is available in the host.cs HTML. So over here, what I can do is add, and if you see over here right now, right-click View Page Source, you cannot see any material design thing over here because we haven't set that component. So now we have to add the html.embedded Blazor content component over here. Now let's just run this application again. Let's check oops, we have to add the embedded. We have to add the namespace over here. That's fine. At using embedded Blazor content. So now everything is fine. We'll just run it again. Now here it is. Here's the button which is appearing over here, and if we see this thing, which is the inspect element or the view page source, go to the head section. You can see the MatBlazor. You can see the script MatBlazor.js as well as the Roboto and Material Icons fonts. So here is some page space is there. Let's clear it off. The very first thing that we have to concentrate is to use this app bar over here. So for that, I'm going to go to the share, and inside of that, I'm going to go to the nav menu, and I'm just going to comment all the codes over here. And instead of this code, I'm going to use the Material Blazor codes, mat app bar container, which is a container. I'm going to use the mat app bar component, as well as inside of that mat app bar, and I'm going to set fixed is equal to true, which is the CSS style property, whereas we said that app bar fixed is equal to true, where if we scroll down, it will be stay there. And then mat app bar row is the another element, and finally mat app bar section. And instead of using this guy right here, and we will better paste this guy right here. We just close everything. And comment this thing, and just type. And here it is. We just finished add body. So now let's just check that around. So now we will check by running this application whether. Here it is. Fantastic. This is what we expected. We just get the exact output that we expected. So here, go to the nav menu. We just so here we just commented all this thing. So I'm going to copy and paste inside the paste inside over here as a nav link. Instead, I can change everything. And you can see these things are not aligned properly. So for that, we have to use the property called align at mat app bar section align dot end, and this will make this links over here. It's basically by default it's in the start, but we have to make that in the end. And also we need to add a navlink class to make that spacing and paddings, those kind of things. So now let's just run it again to see the changes. It's already running. Let's just close it off. And here it is. Everything is perfect. So not only that, I'm also going to add up the icon over here, just like the menu. So for that, I'm going to add another section, mat app bar section. So it's basically going to be aligned over the start, so I don't need to care about that. And I'm going to use the icon over here, mat icon button. Here is something called as button with icon. We have to use the component called mat icon button and icon. And here you can see that a lot of icons available for this particular thing, and which is available in the description. You can go ahead and select whatever icon that you want. And now in this case, we are going to use the menu icon. So let's just close this and run this stuff again. Here it is, the exact output which we expected. It's a button with the icon. So Not only that, we are also going to use the title bar. So for that, we have to use navbar title. So which is going to be the Blazor material design app. Okay, that's fine. And here's the output, exact output that we imagined. And the next thing is I'm going to design this little bit just to create a container. View class equal to container. And this thing is from Bootstrap, so we can also mix up these things. If we are using this material designer, you can also remove completely the Bootstrap stuff, and you can also stick with the material design, which is MatBlazor. So now, and also I'm going to apply some style over here, like style of padding of 1 em, as well as the margin of 1 em. So which will be looking pretty nice. So the next thing is here we are adding the menu icon, but we didn't have the drawer, navigation drawer over here. So for that we have to fix that thing. So all we need to do is to create a navigation drawer. So here I'm going to create a navigation drawer. Let's just comment this thing. Instead of using this thing, we can use navigation drawers thing. So here you can see the mat drawer container, and close this and set the style of width is equal to 100 VH, and then height of 100 VH. It's not going to be the VH, it's VW, which is a vertical height and vertical width. And inside of here we have to create a mat drawer model, which is the layer which comes when we click that drawer. And for that, mat drawer at bind hyphen opened is equal to at opened, and mode is equal to at mat drawer dot model. So basically, we have to write some code over here. By default, I'm going to set bool opened is equal to false, because it's not going to be opened when the application is triggered, and only the event is clicked, which means the button is clicked, then only it needs to be gets the value of true. So button clicked, just created a button clicked method, and opened, I'm going to set opened equal to not opened, which means basically if it is true and it's going to be false, if it is false it's going to be true. So let's just trigger. Okay, that's fine. And in this particular menu, I'm going to call this thing like on click at a okay. And here I'm going to create a mat drawer content. Mat drawer content. And I'm going to paste this guy over here. Uncomment it. Now let's just check that out. Oops, we are getting the error. So we don't need to use the bind because that's the issue. We can directly use that particular property or a particular field over here. And also we have to use the class called mat drawer. We have to use the enumerator called we have to use this mat drawer mode enum.model just to open up the drawer. So now let's just run this application and try. And here is the output. And let's just click this. Yeah, this is what we exactly expected. And here we are not at all using any JavaScript over here. It's everything completely running using the this particular C#. We are not at all used any JavaScript code over here. We just used only the C#, and more specifically Blazor for this kind of interactive things. Okay, let's just see. So let's just fix this thing. dot body, and here we no longer need to use this thing. Yes, hopefully now it will work. Control F. Let's just close this. It will make a problem in IIS server. Now again the same problem is coming. Let's see. Oh, okay. We should get rid of this guy. And I think it's better to use some style margin of 1 em and padding of 1 em. It will be better. Also, I'm going to use the class called container. Okay, that's perfect. And now, if you see here, there is a blank thing over here. There's nothing, menus or links over here. So we'll just fix that by creating a list inside of this mat drawer. So let's see how to create a list now. This one is the drawer navigation drawer. And now we are going to create a list. Let's just see that. So for that, we basically need to add a mat list group component and also mat list group subheader. And here it's going to be the dashboard, something like that. And now let's just create a mat list. And here inside of that mat list item, where it's going to be the post pages and media. And also I'm going to create another list with another subheader, user account settings, profile, password, change password, and finally log out. And you can also use the mat icon button just like that we specified over here. And let's just run this application again. And I think we also need to add mat app mat app bar content. Over here, let's just copy all the things, cut this and paste it over here. Let's just so I just added the app bar content just to check to whether it is fixing that style issue. We can also fix that by using the margin top or matching padding, but let's just try whether it will make a fix. Yes, exactly, it did. And if we open up over here, it is showing the dashboard, post, pages, media, account profile, the list, all the list, which is exactly needed. So now let's just check the counter. Pages are working perfectly. Yes, everything is working. And now the next thing is that we have to concentrate is the tables, right? Basically what we are going to do is to fetch the data from the JSON as a REST API and populate it in a MatBlazor table. So to do that, I'm going to use JSON placeholder.com, and over here you can see a lot of fake data, and in that particularly I'm going to use this posts. So first thing, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to the JSON to C# website, whereas it helps us to generate a model for that. So let's just do that. So let's come over here and type code, type functions, and paste this guy right here. We don't need to use root object, it's generated over there, but instead we can use post. So now let's create a table, and the next thing I have to create an array of posts. Yeah, that's it. So now create a component called MatTable, and here I'm going to pass some attributes, whereas the attributes is going to be the to at posts, and then the second attribute is going to be the load initial data, which is equal to true, as well as the stripe is equal to true, and then request API only once is also equal to true, and API URL is going to be this URL. Copy this one and paste it over here, and finally filter by column name, which is equal to the title, and finally, and the debounce milliseconds is going to be 50. So let me just explain everything. The items is the thing which helps us to populate the data over here, which is fetched from this URL, and where we mentioned this guy right here as an array. And the second thing, which is load initial data, which specifies where to load the initial table data. And then stripe is equal to true, which is the table design of striping, and request API only once. It specifies whether the request of the API to fetch only once or multiple times, kind of things. If we set to false, it will not fetch the request API only once. And then API URL, as you know, that it's a filter by column name is the search filter, which helps the column to filter along. Finally, the debounce milliseconds, which helps to specify the delay duration between the user input on the search field. By default, it will be the about 800. And let's just create a MatTable header. MatTable header over here, and then just use th over here. We cannot see that thing. And t here, and user ID, and just title. In MatTable row, it's td, and here we need to use the context dot user ID. Okay, I think everything is fine right now. Let's just try to run this application. Oops, we are getting an error. The reason it cannot provide a value for the property HTTP, this is because by default the MatBlazor is using dependency injection while fetching the data. So here in the startup class, we need to add services. Services.add scope. And inside of that, we have to pass the HTTP client, and just like that. And that's it. Now let's just try to run it again. I'm going to close this server. Run it again. Here it is. Excellent. Let's just clean up these things, which is just a little bit confusing. And, get some BR tag over here, and close it, and run it again. And here it is. And here you can see the exact data which is fetched from the API. Not only that, you can also see the populated data over here, and 25, just like that. And that's it. It's quite very similar to the data tables in the jQuery, and it is very much powerful. And we can also search this thing used via title. Let's search to type this QUI. It will retrieve all the data from the QUI. And let's just try to say illum. ILLUEM. So these are all the things which from the illum and sunt, and these are all. So this is what this fetch API all it can do about. So we just change this to 5. We can also navigate from page 1 to page 2, first page. We can also use these navigations like next page, last, and first kind of things. And this makes, and this is what this makes, And really cool, right? So hereafter we can use these tables kind of things instead of using plain old data tables by fetching. So that's it. And the next thing that we are going to look at is the typography in MatBlazor. We just come across the tables. Now we're just going to create some form like text field kind of things. So let's get started. So to do that, we have to type the mat, let's say some br over here, and let's try to say mat text field, and here we have to set the label as the post title, and also we have to specify the full width, which is equal to true or not. And then what we are going to do is to use mat field text area, and here it's going to be the body, post body, and full width is equal to true, as well as the text area, which is equal to true. So now let's just see this thing. And here is the post title as well as the post body. This is the text area. You can expand however that you want. And yes, that's it. Hopefully that's it. And let's just try to set a button, submit button. So for that, and here you have to set button, and you can use the attributes like raised, unelevated, outline, tensed property attributes. And here I'm going to set the raised, which is equal to true. And let's just run it again. I just changed the vertical width to 100 just to clear that design issue. So here everything is perfect. So here you can see the send post button over here, and let's check that out. And we can also set raised equal to true, and also outlined, which is equal to true. Let's just do this thing again. So here, if we see over here, it's elevated and perfectly aligned. And that's it. Next thing that we have to talk about is the autocomplete, which is very famous in most of the frameworks. And let's just get into the autocomplete stuff. So for that, I'm going to use the component called mat autocomplete. And before that, I'm going to populate some data. So let's say the categories of the particular post, like category, class, category. And inside of that, I'm going to use the property of string name. So let's just we just initialized it, and now let's just populate it. Category value is equal to null, and just create an object of a null value. Also, I'm going to create an array of this particular category for the options, which is equal to new array of values. A new category. Just create a new category. Over here, I'm going to pass this thing, name, mobile development, and what's it? Mobile app development, and paste, and just copy this for a couple of times. Web app development, SEO, and digital marketing. So that's it, I think. So it's enough to populate just three values. Now Let's get inside of this item, the math autocomplete. And here options, populate the options, and the item type, we also need to set the type, which is basically the category, and label, which is going to be the select category. Now it's better for us to category, and then custom string selector is equal to @I dot name. Well, finally, just going to bind value is equal to @value. So that's it. Instead, we can use this thing. Item template style is equal to display flex, and then flex direction is going to be row, and width is going to be 100%. Put a p tag, and the selected value which is equal to @value. Set that as a nullable reference. Perfect. So everything's fine. Let's just close this and run it again. So the user interface, it's not quite good. So instead, we have to change this to, instead of setting VW, I can set it to 100%. And height is also needs to be 100%. So here it is. Let's check whether we are getting that thing. No. Basically, the way W is going to be the same. Now let's just run this application down here, and let's check the output. And here it is. Yeah, it's perfectly working. We type web app development, it's just auto-completing for us. And here you can also populate the REST data instead of doing this kind of manual things. And that's it for this part 1. This video series is going to be continued in the next part because there's a lot to cover in the MatBlazor library. So that's it for this video. If you like the video, please like, share to your friends. If you have any queries, please comment down below and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to get more things in Blazor. Seriously, I'm going to keep on adding a lot of Blazor Signal videos hereafter. So please support me.